Hey y'all, Ellen here. Ever heard the saying, the early bird gets the worm? Of course you have. It's like the law of the jungle, but for breakfast. But then there's another saying, good things come to those who wait. So, which is it? Do we set our alarms for the crack of dawn, or do we hit snooze until further notice? Decisions. It's enough to make you want to crawl back under the covers. But wait, before you grab that sleep mask, let's dive into this dilemma. Trust me, it's gonna be fun. We've got stories, we've got jokes, it's like a morning show, but in essay form, buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to solve the mystery of the early bird and the patient dreamer. Meet Samantha. She's a dear friend, and trust me, she's tried it all. From skydiving to knitting, she's always up for a challenge. Recently, Samantha decided to tackle this early bird thing head on. She read somewhere that the early bird catches the worm, and she was determined to find out if it was true. So she set her alarm for 5 a.m. 5 a.m., the crack of dawn, when most of us are still deep in dreamland. The only time I see 5 a.m. is if I forget to set my alarm. But Samantha, she was ready to embrace the morning.
Anyway, Samantha's up before the roosters, doing yoga, baking bread, the whole early bird starter pack. She even started a blog about her early morning routines. One morning, she's out for a jog at the crack of dawn, thinking she's winning at life. The air was crisp, the world was quiet, and she felt invincible. But guess what she caught instead of a worm? A face full of cobwebs. She didn't see it coming, and it was all over her face. Not exactly the breakfast of champions. She spent the next few minutes trying to get the sticky mess off her face.
Another day, she's up early to snag a bakery's famous cronut. She had been dreaming about it all night. Guess what? They were sold out. All that effort for nothing. Turns out even pastry chefs believe in the snooze button sometimes. They had overslept and didn't bake enough. Samantha was starting to think this early bird thing was for the birds. She began to wonder if it was worth the trouble. But then she saw a beautiful sunrise and enjoyed a quiet moment with her coffee. Maybe, just maybe, there was something special about being an early bird after all. So Samantha ditched the 5 a.m. yoga and decided to embrace her inner sloth. She figured, hey, maybe good things really do come to those who wait, especially if you're waiting by the mailbox for a pizza delivery.
She spent her mornings catching up on sleep, reading trashy magazines, and perfecting the art of the midday nap. And you know what? Sometimes, good things actually happened.
One day, she stumbled upon a flash sale online while everyone else was at work. She got those designer shoes she'd been eyeing for a steal. Another time, she won free concert tickets just for being the 100th caller on a radio show. See? Patience.
Maybe this whole waiting thing wasn't so bad after all.
Okay, let's be fair. There are some definite perks to being an early bird. Think about it. You get first dibs on everything. The best parking spot, the first pick of donuts in the break room, the quietest time at the gym before it turns into a human jungle gym. Plus, let's be honest, there's something incredibly satisfying about already being on your second cup of coffee while everyone else is just dragging themselves out of bed. You're like a superhero of productivity, fueled by caffeine and sunshine. So yeah, the early bird life definitely has its moments. The perks of pumping the brakes. But hold your horses, early birds. Sometimes it's not about how fast you can get there, but about the journey itself. Let's talk about the beauty of patience. First of all, sleep. Glorious, glorious sleep. When you allow yourself to rest, you give your body and mind the chance to rejuvenate. When you're not setting your alarm for an ungodly hour, you can actually wake up feeling refreshed and energized. Imagine starting your day with a smile instead of a groan. And let's not forget about the joy of avoiding rush hour. The roads are clear, the air feels fresher, and your commute becomes a peaceful drive rather than a stressful race. Who wants to be stuck in traffic when you could be sipping your coffee, leisurely reading the news, and watching the early birds frantically honking their horns in the distance? It's a serene start to your day. And here's the best part. Sometimes, the best things in life really do happen when you least expect them. When you're not rushing, you have the time to notice the little things. That spontaneous adventure with friends, those unplanned moments that turn into lifelong memories, a chance encounter with someone special, a meeting that could change your life, or stumbling upon a hidden gem of a restaurant. These are the moments that make life rich and fulfilling. Those moments are often the result of simply being open to possibility and going with the flow. When when you slow down, you see more, experience more, and live more. So yeah, patience isn't just a virtue, it's a lifestyle choice that can lead to a more meaningful and enjoyable life. It's also the key to unlocking some pretty amazing experiences. So next time, consider pumping the brakes and savoring the journey. Samantha's split personality experiment, round 1. Now, Samantha being Samantha, she decided to get scientific about it. She dedicated a week to each philosophy, documenting her findings with the precision of a brain surgeon, or at least with the enthusiasm of someone who just discovered emojis.
Week 1, Operation Early Bird. Up at dawn, agenda packed tighter than my dance card after a show. I was a woman on a mission to conquer the world, one early morning meeting at a time. Let the games begin.
The early bird gets the parking ticket. Remember that blissful image of the early bird enjoying the best parking spot? Yeah, well, scratch that. Turns out even the city's meter maids believe in an early start.
I snagged a prime parking spot downtown, feeling pretty smug about it, until I came back to find one of those lovely little yellow envelopes decorating my windshield. Turns out, even being an early bird doesn't make you exempt from the rules of parking enforcement. Who knew?
Lesson learned? Sometimes the early bird gets more than just the worm. It also gets the parking ticket. Life's tough, even for early risers.
Patience prevails in the form of free concert tickets.
Now let's talk about Samantha's week of patience. Remember those concert tickets she won just by being the 100th caller? Well, guess what? That wasn't a one-time fluke. It turns out radio stations love giving away free stuff. And Samantha, with her newfound love for leisurely mornings, was the lucky recipient of their generosity. She scored tickets to a sold-out comedy show, a gift certificate to her favorite restaurant, and even a year's supply of free coffee. Who knew that staying in your pajamas and listening to the radio could be so rewarding? Take that, early birds! So, who's the real winner? The early bird or Miss Chill? It's a question that has puzzled many of us. We often hear the saying, the early bird catches the worm. But what about those who take a more relaxed approach to life? So after 2 weeks of living on opposite ends of the time spectrum, Samantha had gathered enough data to make even a scientist's head spin. She meticulously tracked her productivity, mood, and overall well-being. But here's the thing, there was no clear winner. Both lifestyles had their own unique advantages and disadvantages. Sure, she'd had her share of both triumphs and tribulations, proving that life has a funny way of throwing curveballs no matter what time you wake up. Whether she was up at the crack of dawn or sleeping in, challenges and victories came in equal measure. The early bird life had its perks: productivity, efficiency, the smug satisfaction of being ahead of the game. Samantha found that she could get a lot done before the rest of the world even woke up, but the patient approach had its own allure: rest, spontaneity, and the thrill of embracing the unknown. Taking things slow allowed her to enjoy moments she might have otherwise missed. It was a classic case of you win some, you lose some. But with a side of coffee, because let's be real, coffee makes everything better. In the end, Samantha realized that the best approach might be a balance between the two, embracing the productivity of the early bird while also savoring the relaxation of Miss Chill.
Life lessons from Samantha's chaotic journey.
So what did we learn from Samantha's time-bending experiment? Well, for starters, life is too short to be stressing about whether you're living it by the right clock. Whether you're an early bird or a night owl, a go-getter or a go-with-the-flower, the most important thing is to find what works for you and rock it. Don't be afraid to set your own schedule, embrace your inner weirdo, and dance to the beat of your own drummer, even if that drummer happens to be hitting the snooze button a few times before getting out of bed. Life's a party, and you're invited, no matter what time you show up. In conclusion, to each their own, but coffee is always a good idea. So there you have it, folks. The great early bird versus patient dreamer debate, solved. Or, not really, because in the end, it all comes down to personal preference. Some days you'll soar with the early birds, and other days you'll chill with the cool cats who know how to savor a slow morning. The important thing is to listen to your own internal rhythm and do what feels right for you. And hey, no matter which side you choose, there's always one thing we can all agree on. Coffee is the real MVP. Stay caffeinated, stay true to yourselves, and keep on laughing.